All right. Thank you to those of you that have joined on here. I'm sure some more people will start to kind of filter in. And we'll let them in, but we're going to go ahead and kind of get started. Again, thank you for joining us tonight for our UCROPS Monument Avenue 10K Gear and Hydration Clinic. We have Mike with Nuun, who is our electrolyte partner for the event, and he'll be going over some hydration 101 with everybody, like how to prepare throughout your training and prepare on race day and just make sure you are good and hydrated out there on the course. And then we also have Jeff Wells with Fleet Feet, owner operator here at the Richmond locations, and he will be going over some different gear with you guys: shoes, goos, Nuun tablets, rollers, whatever else. He has all the needs at the store over on West Hampton or in Short Pump. So Mike, we're going to let you take it away, and you can, if you need to share your screen, you should have that capability.
Yes, I'm getting a spinning beach ball while I'm trying to open up my deck. So just give me like 1 minute here as I try and work through it. All right, I think we're gonna be okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. All right. We're in business, team. We did it. Okay, cool. So let's get this thing going. All right, I'm gonna go kick it into full screen. All right, so hey everyone, thanks for joining. Looks like we got a good group here and more filtering in, but my name's Mike. I work for Nuun Hydration, and I've worked here for about almost 10 years, so a long time. So you could say I'm a hydration expert, maybe, but the folks at Sportsbackers seem to think so because they keep inviting me to these. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on. Happy to sort of walk through just a short little deck I have just on like hydration, why it's important for you, how it affects you at Monument Ave 10K, what you need to know. And I'm pretty informal, so if you have questions, either like, I think there's a raise hand feature in here, so you can do that. If you want to like speak directly to me, you can always drop them in the chat too. So I guess, ooh, there we go. Brittany or Lauren, do you want to monitor the chat? And if something pops up, just give me a shout and I'll answer it kind of like in flow. Is that cool? Awesome. And then, yeah, in 7 minutes, my son is going to join us. So the volume is going to change and will likely go up quite a bit. So just a heads up. All right. So hydration 101. So we're going to talk about who the heck Nuun is, why I'm here, do a little bit of hydration science, but I keep it pretty high level. So we're not doing like deep dive. Talk hydration for training. And then I always leave time for Q&A at the end. But like I said, feel free to just sort of pop questions in the chat as we go or raise your hand. All right. So who's Nuun? So we are most known for, hopefully my face is still on your screen. We're most known for our tablet-based products. So we actually make a bunch of different products across a bunch of different, I call it like functional need states. So, we have an immunity product, we have a rest product, we have kind of like an everyday product. But the product most people know us for is our sport product. And it's actually what's served on course for the Monument Ave 10K. So it'll be out there on all the aid stations. But overall as a brand, we make products that are functional, taste good, and are super convenient for you to use. That's why the tablet format's super key for us. We hear this a lot, water's boring. And in actuality, water alone doesn't hydrate you. So that's like a big thing we kind of like lean into as a brand is electrolytes, which is sort of the base ingredient for all of our products, but is really the hero in our sport product is electrolytes help you absorb the water you're drinking. So it says it at the bottom, but we want to bring function, flavor, and fun to every glass of water. It's kind of like who we are and what we do from a product standpoint. Our mission as an organization is to empower more movements. That's why we partner with incredible organizations like Sportsbackers. I mean, they're so cool. They have a stadium named after them, just saying. So we partner with awesome organizations to sort of like bring this mission to life. So, the fact that you're here in this call is pretty powerful. You've like maybe you're a seasoned vet, maybe you're a newbie, this is your first time. Either way, you're like living, you're a part of this mission. And so, yeah, empowering more movement is a big part of who we are and why we get up in the morning. And so we kind of live on these like 3 value pillars. So clean products, the first one. So Nuun, our brand is Nuun, kind of a nonsense word. It's actually an acronym for nutrition uncompromised. So we're all about putting the cleanest ingredients inside of your body, because, products that are formulated with a plant-first mindset tend to be absorbed more quickly. More people can use them across varying different, sort of like ingredient sensitivities. So all of our products are kosher certified, gluten-free, non-GMO, project verified, and certified vegan. So really, really easy to use, easy on your stomach as well. So Clean Planet's a big part of who we are. Our product format is a tablet. We don't make ready to drink products. We make decisions across our organization really, really hyper focused on sustainability. So we are climate neutral certified. That's one of our big things. And then we actually just recently changed our incorporation. We're now a B Corp, which is a benefit corporation. And so that's another thing we've done sort of like through this Clean Planet lens. And then the last piece, and I promise I'll start talking about hydration and I won't do more Nuun stuff, is clean movement. So this kind of goes back to our mission, but we really want, like to create a place where call it like movement is sort of like commoditized so that everybody has access to it, because we believe that movement has the power to change lives, and so that's a big part of our value proposition as well. So anyways, I don't know. Oh, there we go. So to jump into some like quick hydration science. So like what is the big deal with water? So this is, kind of something that we talk about quite a bit. Hydration is sort of foundational to success as as an endurance athlete, as just like an everyday human. It's pretty shocking when you jump forward and look. There we go. Look at some of these stats. So if you're out for a run, it only takes 30 minutes to get dehydrated. So that's pretty quick. So if you start dehydrated, you're really in trouble. And then, 75% of American adults are living with chronic dehydration. So that's a pretty key indicator as well. When you think about, one quarter of us are good. I like to think I'm in the hydrated category. But I think 3/4 of the people in this room are chronically dehydrated. And if you look down at the bottom of this slide here, like your brain is 73% water, your muscles are almost 80%, and your lungs are almost 85%. So those are 3 really important things. They're made up of mostly water. So if your body is deficient in water, those are things that are being impacted, not to mention your performance. And so to not go super deep, but just talk about like 5 key things to keep in mind, just to sort of like reframe hydration for you. So hydration is energy for your muscles. So most people don't think about it that way, but hydration is actually, and I'm sorry if I'm unstable, it looks like I might be, but hopefully you can still hear me. The fundamental goal of hydration is actually delivering oxygen to your working muscles, and that's through the fluid in your body. And so, if you get dehydrated, it actually impacts your ability to transport oxygen to your muscles. I already said this when I kind of like let in, but water alone does not hydrate you. So a specific concentration, particularly of electrolytes, allow fluids in your stomach to exit more quickly and move into circulation. So if you've ever had that sensation where you like are super dehydrated in the middle of the summer, you come home and you just drink a whole bunch of water and then you feel really full, that's because you're just drinking a whole bunch of water. It doesn't have electrolytes. And because of that, it actually takes longer for you to absorb it. And sort of the key one there is sodium, but really there's a suite of 5 electrolytes that are important. So proper hydration helps with like gastric distress. It's like a fancy way of saying like when you have stomach issues, when you're out on a run, or really when you're doing any sort of movement. I know I've been there. I'm sure plenty of you have before. But proper hydration actually reduces that like sloshing that happens. And when that sloshing is happening, it actually reduces your ability to like fuel yourself as well. So kind of building on that point, hydration actually helps you feel better. So yeah, so those are like, this is those are sort of like two critical pieces here. They kind of like work really closely together. And my son is entering the room, so just a heads up. He likes to chat. I'll talk closer to the mic now. And so the last piece, hydration aids in recovery. He's he's definitely a happy camper. So rehydrating as soon as you finish is super important during exercise, just because of how quickly you can dehydrate during a run. You can bring him in, it's cool. There he goes. All right. Oh, too fast. All right. So I like to throw this slide up real quick, just because it sort of shows like symptoms of dehydration and advanced systems. And so, the regular symptoms are like diminished energy levels. That's like that mid-afternoon slump. Sometimes you can feel lack of concentration. That's brain function, really. Delayed recovery. So if you don't rehydrate after a run, it'll take you longer to recover. Muscle cramps and headaches. Those are like common symptoms. And then the advanced ones, if these are happening, you should be worried and you should solve the situation very quickly. So dizziness, confusion, heart rate elevation beyond normal, fainting, obviously that's a big warning sign. Nausea, vomiting, and then no sweating at all is also like a key warning sign. You can bring it in stuff, it's okay. So yeah, some training tips. These are just like 4 real quick ones that I always try to leave with you. So number 1, wake up with water. So believe it or not, most people don't know this, but when you are sleeping, every time you aspirate, you're actually breathing out water. And so while you're sleeping, you're actually dehydrating. So one of the key things here is wake up with water, drink like 8 ounces of water right when you wake up. That's like a really good rule to follow. And the next ones are really more specific to training, but drink up before you lace up. So that's just like before you go out on your run, within like that hour to 45 minutes before, drink like 16 ounces of water with electrolytes if you can. Plug for noon. So, that's a really important time window. And then when you get home, rehydrate in the same way. So in that like 45 to an hour afterwards, try to drink 16 ounces of fluid, again, with electrolytes is best. And then this wind down with water piece, this is really all about before bed. So I always tell people 8 ounces of water before bed is just like a really good way to just like make water the last thing you drink before you go to bed. Don't make it any other, number of things that people like to consume at night. Water is really important. All right. So this is kind of a good like general guideline for how to approach training. So and whether or not what you should be drinking, whether or not you should. So if you're doing a workout or a run under 30 minutes, water intake's totally optional. So, follow your thirst and personal preference. Just there's no need to bring anything with you. Again, use that like hydrate before and after rule. If you're doing a run that's like 60 minutes, maybe somewhere in the 60 to 90 minute range, definitely, you want to drink, water with electrolytes when you're out there. So 16 ounces per hour is a good rule to follow. And then, if you're doing something 90 minutes or more, which I know is kind of beyond the 10K for a lot of folks and, might be right in the wheelhouse for some, 4 to 8 ounces of an electrolyte fluid every 20 minutes from the start is a good rule to follow. And there's a little note at the bottom. It's probably hard to read, but these are like general guidelines. If it's really hot and humid, you're going to want to up. This is sort of like baseline, not too hot, not too cold weather. All right. And so I've got some race day tips just to sort of leave you with. I think this is my last slide. So race day hydration starts 3 days before the race. So if you want to have your best race, make sure that you're really keeping an eye on, how much hydration you're intaking in those 3 days in lead up. We actually have a nice resource that I'll share in the chat after I stop talking, that just gives you like a really prescriptive breakout of like, how should you hydrate those 3 days before the event? Just a free guide, so I'll flip it in there. So that's really critical. So night before, morning of those 3 days, that is the most important. So night, call it like, dinner on. make sure you hydrate as much as possible, add electrolytes to your water to sort of preload your electrolytes. And then morning of, make sure you're waking up early enough so that you can drink enough before your race. So, most events you have to get to the start line well before you actually start running. I always tell people, like, plan to build in time to like hit the porta potty before your race starts so that you can hydrate enough the morning of so that you're not dehydrated when you start. And then, once you're out there, I always tell people, the hydration is provided. Grab it early, grab it often. If the cups are out there and, there's electrolytes like Nuun and then water, definitely take advantage. Grab cups as much as you can. And, I always like to give like a little tutorial on like how to grab cups. So this is not like an actual single use cup. This is a little collapsible one. But what you do want to do is when you grab the cup, you just want to squeeze the top like this, just sort of fold over the enclosure, and then you can kind of just sip out of it. So that's just like a good tip. If you're trying to grab water, grab Nuun while you're on the go, that's like a really, really, sort of like good rule to follow. And aid stations get really, really crowded. So don't go to the first table, kind of like work your way over, go to the second, third, fourth table. There's plenty out there for you. And then the last one, post race, I know you're going to really want to reach for that beer right when you get done. Hold off, have like 16 ounces of water and electrolytes right when you finish. And that's going to set you up for the best rest of your day. So then you can go hit brunch, whatever you're hitting next. And you don't get those like dehydration headaches or sort of side effects that we talked about earlier. So those are my race day tips. And that's the end of my presentation. So I'm going to stop my share. Were there any questions? Anybody have anything?
Papa.
No, that's nice. Oh, here you go. Well, cool. If there's no questions, then I think flip it back to you, Brittany.
Yeah, that's great. Any expectations on rain day weather generally? I popped up in the chat there. Oh, that was just to me. I don't know how, guys, I don't know how Zoom works. I'm so sorry. I'll answer you back, Linda. Yeah, Mike, thank you for that. If any questions do come up, I can always get in touch with Mike and get an answer for you if we can't help you out. But I know you got to go feed a kiddo, so we appreciate it and thank you for your time. And we'll toss it over to Jeff now to talk about gear.
Oh, and Amanda's reminding Mike to just put that link you're referencing. Yep, there it is, right there. Awesome.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you letting me join you.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you, Mike. Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff with Fleet Feet. Thank y'all for having me in here today. A little quick commercial plug to let you know who I am and what we do. So we're Fleet Feet. We have 2 locations in town, one on Patterson Avenue, very close, in between Willow Lawn and Libby, right across the street from Yellow Umbrella. That's usually a nice shake of the head. Oh, yeah. And the other one's in Short Pump, across from the mall next to Plow and Hearth. We're open 7 days a week, fully staffed to take care of all your needs. That's what we do. So I'm going to cover some things. I call this my gear talk. If you could see the table in front of me, it's just full of gear. And each piece kind of helps you along your journey of being, 1, injury-free, and 2, having the best experience you can have. Probably it starts with shoes, at least in everyone's mind, that is. Want to call out our vendor partner, Brooks, showing you the Brooks Ghost shoe here. Probably the most single bought model of running shoe there is. Bam, I said it. Shoes are very important for you. It's what separates you from the ground. It's very important for a shoe to serve you well. At Fleet Feet, we do a very personalized fit experience for you. We do a 3D scan of your foot to gather information for the shape and size of your foot. We've done over 3 million scans, and all those scans are cloud-based. So we have a really good idea of what our customers' feet look like. And that it shows each foot, the lengths and the shape, sizes of your arch. And through the dynamic scan, it shows how mobile your foot is as you go through your gait. And that allows you to see your feet the way we see your feet. And together we can go through the fit experience and find shoes that are going to fit the size and shape of your foot and the biomechanic demands of your feet as well. And more than anything, the shoe that's most comfortable to you, the one that provides the most comfort to you, is going to be the best shoe for you. So some common things I like to tell folks is prepare to wear the size of your shoe is typically a half to a full size bigger than what your foot measures. So say your foot is roughly a size 8, like that's what it would measure barefoot. That might even be what you wear in a sandal or a casual shoe. You can expect to wear have a 8.5 to a 9 size running shoe. So they build a 9 running shoe to serve an 8 foot, go figure. But part of the reason they do that is that accounts for the thickness of your sock. So you're gonna have your sock on and that's gonna take up some thickness in the shoe. And also you want a little bit of room between the end of your toes, the end of the shoe, roughly 3/8 of an inch. And you want plenty of room. You want the widest part of your foot to hit in the widest part of the shoe. Totally makes sense, right? So you want the widest part of your foot to hit in here. And if it's too short, all of a sudden the widest part of your foot is too far forward. And as you can see, that's not the widest part of the shoe. There's also lots of components of the shoe, features of the shoe, and they need to line up with the parts of your foot properly to, again, serve you properly. All right, so, and you can expect to pay roughly $140 for a good shoe, plus or minus. Yeah, so that's it on shoes. You're gonna get about 400 miles out of them. And if you're wearing shoes regularly, it might be a good idea to have 2 shoes. So you could have 1 shoe, 2 shoe, and maybe change it every other day. And that way you don't run in the same biomechanical rut every day. And each shoe will have time to rest and relax like we need to, and it'll give you more cushioning and more life to the shoe itself because it's had time to rest. Yeah, so that's it on the shoes. I'm gonna keep on the chat in case y'all have questions here. Just a lot of thank yous so far. That's good. All right, so the next thing is, again, we're talking about injury prevention, and what better way to prevent issues with injuries than the proper sock. So it's very important to have a good technical non-cotton. Cotton is rotten. Cotton is not a good thing to wear against your foot when you're exercising. The socks we have, 2 of our favorites are Features and Belega. These are 2 of the best running brands socks in the world. They really do a great job of wicking moisture from your foot, keeping your foot in the sock very dry. They also stay in place, so there's no movement. Movement causes friction, and y'all know what friction causes? You got it, blisters, and you don't want that. So these are well fitted. They give you cushion where you need them, but not where you don't. And they come in at a roughly $15 to $20 a pair. They're gonna last a long time. And more than anything, they just feel so good. Another one of my favorite sock wear is the product is a CEP compression sock. So even though these are great socks in their own right, this kind of goes a step further and provides medical grade compression. So what this does is gives you more support to the foot and also promotes more blood flow. So it can be very therapeutic if you sprain your ankle or your feet are prone to swelling, those things. It's very good to have access to a product like this, medical grade compression. Again, it provides more support and more blood flow than an average sock. So while we're on these things such as blisters and so forth, one of my favorite products that most people don't know about is this product right here. It's called Sport Shield. And it's a roll-on anti-chafe product. And you just swab it on areas where you're liable to chafe. Women get it under the bra strap here, armpits under the arm here. If you're wearing a tank top, a lot of times your arm right here will hit that tank top and you wonder, how the heck did I get a scar after my long run in that area? And also, if you're wearing like a waist pack, sometimes you'll get it in the small of your back, especially important in the foot area. So in the foot area, you're liable to get it between the toes, on the tips of the toes, in the arch area, or even around the heel, okay? And especially, get this, let's say it's gonna be raining on race day. What do? Probably the most important thing of all is have the proper sock that's not gonna hold a lot of moisture, because you're gonna get wet. But if you get a sock that's not gonna hold extra moisture, you're better off. And then have the Sport Shield and apply that ahead of time, because this stuff is waterproof. So once you swab it on your feet and put the sock over it, basically you're going to stay blister free even on a wet day. All right. So there's that. Mike talked about the hydration and nutrition. One of my favorite things to carry that water is a Nathan Handheld. And this little sucker, you can put your hand through like this. You put your thumb through here and you cinch up, and it literally holds on to your hand instead of you holding on to it. And you can fill this up with your water and your Nuun. You can even put your energy gels here. Goo is a great product for that. One of my favorite new product here from them is their new salted lime, new product right here, just telling you. And then an all-time favorite is the sea salt chocolate. This goes good. If you want to make a little cake, you could use this instead of regular ice, just saying. All right, so that's it on hydration and nutrition. So another important thing to do is always consider giving yourself more arch support than what comes with the shoe. So as great as these shoes are, I know they're $140. They probably should do it all for your feet. But quite frankly, they come with a sock liner inside the shoe. And these are just thin piece of flimsy foam. It's not an insole. It has no structure to it. You can see how flimsy it is. And a lot of times our customers find that there's advantages to be gained if you upgrade to a insole. For example, from our folks, Super Feet has a really good insole here. This is the dynamic insole. It's got a little flex to it, so this is really good for somebody with a real rigid foot. So you don't necessarily need correction as much as just support. And this helps take up all the voids underneath your foot, and it gives you better shock absorption, and it gives you better alignment. So you can even have the best fitting shoe, but inside the shoe, you have a little bit of movement. You can see that, see, right? Well-fitted shoe, but inside you have that bone structure that can move around. So this sits underneath that bone structure, as you can see, and provides that arch support. And it just minimizes the amount of movement the foot goes through as you strike the ground. And we have it, we carry the Super Feet. We also carry the Curex and also the Power Step. Power Step, as you can see, it works really well for folks with wider feet here. And something that's unique at Fleet Feet. So I talked to you about all those scans that we've done. We can take the data from your scan and actually make a personalized insole. and each one of the insoles matches the shape and size and biomechanical demands of your individual foot. So often we see feet are different, like one foot might have a high arch and the other foot might have a low arch. And these insoles are so personalized that each one will match the arch and the arch demands of that particular foot. Arch supports come in at roughly $50 to $70, and they last twice as long as the shoes themselves. And then the personalized insole, the Me 3D insole, comes in at $150. All right, so another footwear we have here. Many of y'all know about this, but these are the UFO sandals. So it's not so practical to be wearing your running shoes all the time. So a lot of times folks apt to something like the UFOs for recovery or footwear that you can have around the house. A lot of foot pain is caused by walking barefooted on hard tile or hardwood floors. And this just gives you that arch protection when you're in that situation. Yeah, they're super comfortable, incredibly, insanely cushioned. Looking around my table here. Hey, let's get into some things like care for your muscles and so forth. So think of the foot as a puppet, and all the strings of the puppet are up in the calf. Okay, they're up here. So a lot of times when we have lower leg injuries or aches or pains, it's generally not the area of the pain is where the problem is. It's up above, up in the muscle area. Again, think of the foot as a puppet, and those strings to the puppet are up in the calf. And guess what? They get tangled up every day. They just do. And there's a lot of reasons why: dehydration, weight, age, poor posture, yada, yada, yada. But it happens. It's going to happen. So it's very important to have a daily routine of taking care of those muscles that I speak of. So good ways to do that. One of my favorite things is this Pro Stretcher. And this is something that you would do every day, and you stand on it, and it helps. You stand up, but you put your full weight on it, and you roll your heel all the way back. And it's the one time and gravity work for you, not against you. And this stretches the calf muscles and the hamstring muscles. And once you stretch those muscles, that elongates and makes these more elastic, so there's less tension down below. And it's that tension that causes the pain with such things as shin splints and Achilles tendonitis and plantar fasciitis. This thing comes in at $19. I often say that every household should have one of these. Very easy to use, and it's extremely effective. It could be good for if you're injured, or even better yet, it can help you from becoming injured. Other great little tools that work well and kind of accomplish the same thing. That was a stretching device. A good massage stick is always good. This is the Adidas Pro Stick. I believe this is the best massage stick on the market. This is a good one. And then also just a foam rollers are really good for folks that want to do more of their large muscles. Your piriformis and all the muscles in your thigh can really work well on this. It's great to roll this way, by the way. But watch this. It's also good to roll this way on a roller. All right, try that sometimes. You'll see how more effective it is. Just a little tidbit there. And then for the really lazy person, you can just get your own massage gun. This one by Hypervolt, the Hypervolt Go. It's one of my favorite massage guns around. And it does all those things I just described. Instead of doing it manually, it's kind of automatic. I almost think it should have screw heads so you can build a back fence in your backyard, but you can't do that yet, not yet. Oh, and then one other little fun thing to have. So in the same area of products I've been talking about, this literally is made by the same people. just a good solid massage ball. It's great to have handy. You can sit on it and roll around it to work your piriformis muscles, and you can lay on top of it to do your psoas. Anybody know what your psoas is? Your psoas connects your top part of your body to your lower part of your body, and it runs into your abdomen. It's connected roughly from your navel to your groin area, and they get super tight. And when they get super tight, they make you kind of hunched over a little bit. That's what you see at the end of marathons. Everybody's walking around like dinosaurs. Have you ever noticed that? They're walking around like that because generally it's because their psoas are super tight. So this is it's hard to get to that psoas. And actually the psoas is the major cause for really tight hamstrings. So it kind of all starts with the psoas. PSOAS, check it out. But you can lay on your stomach on top of this and you get up in the cobra yoga position, and that sinks that ball into that psoas and really works. Yeah, you're right, Brittany. It hurts so good. It really does. And you just kind of roll across it and close the door so no one in your household thinks you're dying. But it'll hurt so good. It's just really good stuff. Yeah, so I think I covered my whole table here. I'd really probably like some people to ask some questions if you like. This would be a good time to do it.
Are you gonna be demoing that massage gun at the expo?
Ah,
Do I need to
yes.
stop by your booth for a free massage?
Yes, yes. We did that. We had a lot of fun doing that at the marathon in the fall. So I think the results are really good. Hey, I should have brought my gooders out just to say they protect your eyes against UV light, but we know they just look so good.
They do.
Lauren and Brittany are big fans of them. We just got a new supply of them, and we actually got a brand new model of them coming out later this coming week, excuse me, next week. This week's over with almost, isn't it?
Let's see, Jeff, we do have a question. I often get numbness or tingling in my toes on longer runs. Should I try alternate lacing, or is it
I love it.
shoe
Great.
fit?
Thank you, Amanda. That's a great question. And it's so good. I'm almost embarrassed that I didn't cover that up front. So I went through it a little quick. I touched on it a little bit, Amanda, but I'll go deeper in here. So let's go back to getting the proper fitting. So if the shoe is not big enough, or actually let's just leave it at this. Let's start off this way. If the shoe doesn't fit properly, bad things can occur. So generally, when there's numbness, generally it's because the shoe's too tight right across here. You seeing that, Amanda? Remember I said this is where the widest part of your foot should fall? And if this is any tighter than what my fingers are right now, when you're well into your exercise, by the way, often it happens later in the exercise. If it's any tighter than this, what happens is the toes are meant to splay out. And when your foot's trying to swell and trying to expand, and there's a restriction because the toe box is too narrow or too short or both, then instead of these being able to spread out, all of a sudden it squeezes down. And there's nerves that run between the second and third metatarsal that you cut off the circulation to those nerves. And that's the trigger point to the circulation in the forefoot, and it causes the numbness there and tingling. It happens further into your run, does it not? It doesn't start right off because your foot's trying to expand. And guess what? It's going to be worse next week than last week. What? Because it's getting warmer and warmer. Things are going to occur more so going forward than they were behind us. If Mike was still here, he would agree with me that hydration is more important now than it was in January, because we're sweating, we're losing electrolytes even more so than we did in January. And often I see more injuries this time of year than other times of year because we're still drinking like January, and it's soon becoming June. So yeah, a lot of things happen if the shoe doesn't fit right. If if we love our grandmother, but we don't want toes that look like hers, right? Everyone agree on that one? So the reason the foot's really meant to behave very long. It doesn't want to be restricted in length or in the way you splay your toes. And if a shoe's too small, whether we know it or not, we start drawing our foot back like this. And a lot of times you'll get calluses on the tip of your toes because you're trying to give yourself more room. It's an artificial way of getting the shoe to fit. It's amazing how small we can get our foot into a shoe. It's amazing how small. And you women are pros at it, pros. But you want to be able to elongate out. And if a shoe's too long, you actually aren't supported and your foot's moving around and you're trying to grip to give yourself support. And those things aren't good either. Toenail, yes, thanks, Jen. Yeah, so because you're damaging those toenails at the end of the toe, either by when you're gripping or more appropriately, Jen, is when you're hitting the end of the shoe. The inside of the shoe is pretty darn durable. They build this pretty durable, and therefore it's also very hard. So when your soft tissue of your toenails and toes hit the end of that, it does damage. Totally makes sense. Hey, let's talk about something else while we're on the subject. So often, sometimes the shoe's too short on us because we failed to kick our heel all the way to the back of the shoe. So when you put your foot on in the shoe, by the way, always untie your shoes before you take them off. I know each and one of y'all do that. I know y'all do. Y'all just keep doing it and tell your friends to do it too. So the reason you do that is you can destroy the integrity of this heel collar back here. It's very soft. There's foam memory, but it's also not it's soft. So you can tear it up. Your calcaneus bone is very sharp in the back, and it'll tear this up very easily if you yank your foot out with it tied up. So always untie your shoes wide open before you move your foot out. And then it actually breathes and comes back to life overnight because it's nice and open for it to be airy. So then you slide your foot in when you put your foot back in, and you kick your heel back to the back. You want your heel all the way to the back here. If you don't do that, generally your foot will only go back about that far. And then there'll be a gap back there. And also your toes are too far forward. They're too far forward this way. So as you kick your foot back, you get the proper spacing up front. And once you lace the shoe up nice and snug, you lock the foot in place so neither the foot's moving up and back or the heel's moving up and down.
I have another quick question. I figured I'd just ask rather than type it in. Do you recommend different shoes if you're on a treadmill versus a road versus a trail? Because I find when I'm on the treadmill, my feet feel differently than when I'm out on the road.
All right. So first question I'm going to ask you, do you put a grade on your treadmill?
I do.
Okay. So if you didn't do that, so at zero grade on a treadmill is basically like running downhill. So it's always good to put like a half to a 1% to equate it to running on the ground. Now, so in general, shoes that work for you on treadmill or road or vice versa, the trail changes things, right? So I didn't bring a trail shoe on my table here, but it has more traction for the trails. It's got a toe cap up here so you don't hit your toe against roots and rocks. It's more durable upper so it doesn't tear up and so forth. It's not as cushioned though, so you're going to give up cushioning because they're counting on you running on softer ground. So I think I would answer this. You might be a good candidate of having two different shoes and alternate them and find the ones that you like, what provides you the most comfort when you're running on those specific terrains.
Do we have any other questions for Jeff? All right. Well, we appreciate you guys logging in tonight and listening, and hope you got some good information out of it, whether that's hydration or gear or shoes or what have you. Definitely want to wish you the best of luck in the rest of your 10K training, and we are very excited to see you all on race day on April 23rd. We will go ahead and get this recording of this downloaded and post it up on the website, or I don't know, Mara posted somewhere. So we'll get that out in case you want to reference this for anything else. But as always, reach out if you guys have questions, and thanks for coming tonight.